Right. This is Sam from Conquer Divide, and you're watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey, what's up, guys? RichardMetalFan here, episode 56 of RichardMetalFan Interviews here at the Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm here with a returning guest, my good friend Sam Landa from Conquer Divide. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good, Richard. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So this was, of course, if you see my very first interview, we did over Zoom, and now we finally get to meet in person after being internet friends for 7 years.
Yeah, it's always funny when you first meet somebody you know online and you see them, they're a real person, like real flesh and blood.
That's what was me when I first met you. I was like, oh wow, you're a real person.
Oh yeah, especially when you don't know like how tall someone's gonna be or that kind of thing. It's fun.
All right, so basically I wanted to talk more about your journey from music from where you started to now, but I'm just curious, what were the first bands that got you into metal? What made you want to start playing drums?
So I started playing drums even before I got into metal. I started drumming when I was 11 years old. I was in school band. I just wanted to learn a new instrument. I used to play classical piano. So I just decided to take up drums. And then I got into metal a bit later. I think I was probably around 18 or 19. And I remember that there was another drummer at my school, and he was into stuff kind of like, not like extreme metal, but maybe like Opeth and Dream Theater and stuff like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah. So the first, that was kind of some of my intro into metal, was kind of like prog metal, that kind of stuff. And also at the time I was kind of naturally getting into heavier stuff. So like I used to listen to, I don't know, like screamo kind of post-hardcore kind of stuff, and then but I wanted it to get heavier, and I'm like, I want screaming in it. And then I wanted, and people were showing me like, oh, well, you got to listen to like Death, and you got to listen to Carcass, and you got to listen to all this stuff that's got like heavy riffs.
Great choices.
Yeah. So it was a gradual progression into metal.
That's awesome. And do you remember like the first song you tried to play on drums?
Ooh, first song I ever tried to play. Because I was in concert band, they kind of gave you songs to learn. I didn't have like personal drum lessons, so yeah. The first song that I remember I recorded on a cassette tape, and it was for my teacher, my band teacher, and it was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the snare drum.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't even like a proper drum beat or drum part. It was just me doing like on a snare, like do 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 do. Do. It's really not that exciting, but some of the early songs that I learned were like Green Day and those kind of like easy
I grew
bands.
up with that pop punk stuff like Green Day, Sum 41, Simple Plan, Newfound Glory. That was like my shit when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So that was some early, simple. Some of the, I mean, not all their stuff is a beginner part, but a lot of their stuff's really simple. So yeah.
Awesome. And then, of course, like you're currently on tour with Attack and a bunch of stuff. So how's the tour been going so far? I know it's the most typical interview question ever.
I love that question because I feel like there's always a different answer. I mean, I could just be like, yeah, it's awesome, everyone's great, which is true. Everyone's been great. We've been hanging out a lot with Attack, and those guys are the best. Honestly, they treat us great. That's been awesome. And then the other bands that we're touring with, Until I Wake, Across the Whitewater Tower, great dudes. The crew is awesome as well. But yeah, we will just have like the odd, I don't know, like random adventure, like the other night where we all went out to, drinking, and somebody tries to steal a traffic cone, and you're like, you can't do that. There's cops around.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so no, we didn't do anything illegal, but it's just like fun, random kind of party nights, and I don't know. It's fun.
Right. And then, of course, you have some new songs out, like Chemicals, Sea, and Atonement. Does that very much represent what the new album will sound like, or is there like a lot more to be discovered?
I'd say there's even more to be discovered because we haven't even released the heaviest song that we've got as a single yet. So the stuff that we've put out, we were kind of testing the waters because as you know, the band was on, kind of a bit of a hiatus for a little bit. And so I think there was a lot of discussion around what direction does the band want to take, and also what do existing Conquer Divide fans want to hear. They, if we didn't want to go too far away from the metalcore stuff that the band was built on, because they didn't, it wasn't about, we want to just completely change direction. But we were going a bit more of a commercial route. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'd say it's really a mix of songs like that.
All right, right. And I think you have the best of both worlds. I mean, it's kind of like the damned if you do and the damned if you don't. I think like the heaviest song that you have for the metal crowd is like "Share" to people, but then you have like your most radio-friendly pop song is like "Emperor" in a way. So I guess you all try to like take like a different approach to every song or different like emotions. There's not like a formula that Conquer Divide sticks with.
Yeah, it's all relative. It really is to what maybe you listen to.
All right, and was there like a lot of preconceived ideas with the new songs, or is there a lot of like improvisation and trial and error?
I'm sure there's a lot of trial and error, but the songs are really carefully crafted. Like Kristen and Izzy, especially Kristen, does the bulk of the songwriting, and definitely very calculated in that sense. But within that, it'll be like, okay, here's the chord progression that they want to use, or here's like we want to have this kind of bridge or breakdown, and want to do this in the vocal parts, whatever. But there's definitely a lot of trial and error in any kind of songwriting.
Awesome. And do you try to like put yourself in a mind frame emotionally, or just does it come naturally when it just comes to songwriting?
I mean, I can't answer for the others, but I mean, for myself, like if I'm writing a drum part or something like that, I think it's really, I'm a pretty calculated person in terms of like how I write drums. So I like things to be very systematic and looking at, okay, what's best for the song? So I'd say there's a little bit maybe in terms of the feel, like if you're jamming a part over a guitar part or something, but generally it's like very well carefully calculated.
Yeah, all right, and then I think I got a couple more questions for you. Let me try again. I have two more questions for you. I pretty much always ask like the artist, does this like, as I always get like the most complicated question or like more simple, just blunt answers. For you personally, how do you know when a song is done?
Oh, that's a really good question. I want to say a song can sometimes never be done, but you have to call it at some point. So at what point do you call it and say, this is the best it's going to get for now and we have to stop? I don't know how to answer that. That's a really good question, Richard. It's a very good question.
Don't ask those stupid, dumb questions.
No, you don't. Sure. No, you ask good questions. That's a difficult question. For me personally, I think it's just when it feels good, I guess. Like it feels good to play. It feels complete. And I don't know if I can put my finger on what that is. It's like I like a traditional pop kind of song structure with the kind of intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus kind of thing, or maybe a bridge chorus or whatever. So for me, it's like, do the parts flow? Do the vocals resonate? Like, I don't know if I can really put my finger on exactly when. You just know.
Hey, you pretty much answered it perfectly. And another question I want to ask is, like, you're from Montreal, right, Canada? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Canada, in my opinion, I call Canada to be like the Western Sweden, like with so many great bands, like Unleash the Archers, Beyond Creation, mm-hmm. Despised Icon, Obey the Brave, so many great bands. So growing up in Canada, was there like a scene that you fell a part of, or was it for you to just get outside of Canada and play in front of like different countries, different audiences and stuff?
Another very good question. There's a great scene in Canada, like across the country, and even with only 35 or whatever million people in the country, the scene is strong. As you mentioned, a lot of those bands, we have a lot of great bands come from Canada. I grew up in Vancouver. I came up in the Vancouver metal scene. Now I'm in Montreal, and the metal scene there is also amazing, especially with like tech death and like extreme metal. Like it's a really, really good scene. And yeah, I always had the desire to play outside of Canada, but it wasn't because we didn't have enough here. It was more like just wanting to explore more in new cities and new audiences. And I've been very privileged and very fortunate to be able to do that.
That's awesome. And another question I wanted to ask is, or something I've only ever done once in one other interview. I interviewed my boys Nactus Reus, but it's like a thing called band recommendation. Is there like a band or an artist that you've been listening to that people should check out?
Spirit Box.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of people like on Facebook like hype that band up, and I've heard their debut album, and it's really sick.
They're also Canadian.
Yeah, and they'll also be at the Furnace Fest in Alabama in September, where we should get Conquer Divide to play there.
That would be pretty cool.
There, and I have some fan suggestions from you, like of course the metalcore. Everybody knows, of course, U.S. metalcore with like Killswitch Engage, August Burns Red, Shadows Fall on Earth. But then there's also UK metalcore with Bury Tomorrow, Ocean's 8 Alaska, and then Australia with Parkway Drive. But I feel like there's some other countries you should check out, like the Swedish metalcore scene. There's a band called Adept you should check out. I feel like they kind of be in the same vein as you all, and there's also another great band, Dead by April. Well, they kind of like people call them like the Swedish metal Backstreet Boys, and I can imagine Conquer Divided and Dead by April touring together. That's another great band, and also the Unguided are pretty sick. And I think some newer deathcore bands like Shadow of Intent and Lorna Shore are really great, or they're killing it right now.
Oh, Shadow of Intent is awesome.
Yeah, I think Ben Dorr, in my opinion, is one of the best metal vocalists going today.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And then Carcosa, also from Vancouver, they're doing great too.
Yeah, check them out. And I know you also recommended Immortal Guardian.
Yeah,
and they're actually gonna be here on Monday. I need to try to check them out if I can.
Oh, absolutely. They're like, I call them like technical power metal. They're power metal. Incredible vocals. Every member of that is just technically very proficient. And Gabe plays guitar and keyboard at the same time, which you need to see.
So you're trying to be like,
it's amazing. Like I don't know how he does it. It's incredible. It's so cool.
Hey, I know Geddy Lee can play bass and keyboards too, so maybe he could be like the
Geddy Lee.
The rush of technical power metal, whatever you want to call it as.
Yeah. No, it's great. They're a great band, and yeah.
So before we go, I just want to thank you for this interview. Is just anything else with Conquer Divide that you're allowed to talk about? This will be uploaded after midnight, so it hasn't been announced yet. Don't say it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we filmed a new music video for our new single, Atonement. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. And then, working on a new album. We recently signed to Mascot Records. The team, has been really supportive of us. And then we've also got another tour coming up, another tour in the U.S. in the fall this year with Electric Callboy, Attack again, and Outline and Color. So we're really pumped for that.
So awesome. Thank you, Sam. So everybody, Sam from Conquer Divide. We'll see you next time.